How is everybody doing? How is everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Welcome back, especially to my European friends today, because we're discussing Europe quite a bit, NATO issues. Hey, friends, you know when it rains, it pours. And it's been pouring for Donald John Trump. You know, after that meeting that President Donald Trump had with NATO leaders at the White House, where he received such positive reinforcement and affirmation from multitude of European leaders that I played in the video before. I didn't play Georgia Meloni's praise of Trump's peace process because I thought that it's not necessary because everybody knows that Georgia Meloni is ideologically aligned to President Trump, so it's not really necessary. But I wanted to play the other ones who are considered liberals or left leaning. And yeah, that has been interesting. And then I saw that the NATO secretary, Mark, went to Fox News afterwards to have an interview on Ingrim's angle, excuse me, with the great Laura Ingram. Shout out to Laura, one of the greatest, one of the best to ever do it. And so that he was doing some feedback on the meeting and just the entire process of why the European leaders are in the United States of America. And he said something that blew my mind. Because, you know, we've been hearing this talk from the left, Democrats, and European media houses that Donald Trump is trying to destroy NATO. Donald Trump does not respect allies. Donald Trump is trying to get the United States to leave NATO. All of it, which is obviously false, and not actually engaging the merits and the demerits of why he was criticizing NATO. And it's a big problem that we're facing. That it's a position that I've said in the past, that it's a position that goes like, Trump is wrong, let me tell you why. That's really the position that they hold. Whatever Trump says, they will find a way to show why it is wrong, incorrect, bad, immoral, evil. It doesn't matter what it is. It is not an honest way of behaving. It is not an honest way of conducting yourself. It's not an honest way of conducting any kind of analysis of any policy, to be honest. But let's hear what he had to say, because the main criticism that President Trump has had of NATO is that NATO members are not paying enough, or they are not even paying what is agreed upon according to the contractual obligations that they have of spending 2% of their GDP to the defense or to NATO. They are not doing that. And that America is being overburdened with the burden of protecting and defending Europe. And President Trump was the only American president who have come around and say, no, it ends right here, right now. We are not going to be taken for fools. We're not going to be taken advantage of. We're not going to be the piggy bank that everyone robs. I even made a video at the beginning of the year this year, where I asked this question: that are Western alliances fundamentally premised on taking advantage of the United States? Are Western alliances intrinsically based on ripping off the United States of America? And I answered that question with the affirmative yes. They are intrinsically based on taking advantage of the United States of America to the point of entitlement. Because when someone rips you off and depends on you for decades of years, going to 40 years, when you start saying, no, wait, hold on, wait a minute, it stops right here, they start to feel some type of way. They start to feel like, no, you are wronging them, because they've come to build their life to depend on the money that they get from you. But the NATO secretary, this NATO secretary is the first one to actually come out on national television to say, yes, President Trump is right about this matter. The previous NATO secretary did say in some meetings in private that yes, President Trump is right about this, but he didn't want to be forceful about it because he had to play the tightrope of trying to encourage NATO members to spend more on the defense. But this one has just come out and said, yes, Trump was right, and I'm going to play it for you. And what's important for me is that this guy was a former Netherlands prime minister, which means he's a bleeding leftist. He's not a conservative, he's not right-wing, he's a bleeding leftist. So then if he agrees with Trump on this matter, we can say that maybe there is something into that. But let me play it for us. Take it away, Mr. Secretary.
It's just all of you. What was he like? What is his conversational tone like with you? Because for years, we've heard about, he wants to ruin NATO. He wants to break up NATO. He's a great disruptor. He doesn't know what he's doing. Tell us what he's like behind closed doors.
Well, he was amazing, and he is amazing. And let me tell you this, that his criticism of NATO was right. What he was saying is that the US is spending so much more on its defense, and therefore spending on the collective defense of NATO territory than the Europeans. And the great thing is, and I think this is, and I hope the Americans see this, probably one of his biggest foreign policy successes of his president, of Trump 47, is that during the NATO summit, we committed collectively to this 5% spending, including 3.5% on the core defense spending. That's the same the US is spending. So now we are equalizing what the US is spending, what the Europeans are spending. And he has therefore taken a different view. He always said that he supported NATO, but he also expected the Europeans to pay up, to spend more. He has been successful in doing this. So today, the conversation was a conversation among friends, among close allies who respect each other, who like each other, who know each other very well, discussing how we can bring this terrible war to an end. And this is a goal we...
No shit. No shit. Okay, Mr. Secretary. Say it again, Mr. Secretary. The folks sitting at the back didn't hear you?
The collective defense of NATO territory than the Europeans. And the great thing of NATO was right. What he was saying...
What he's like behind closed doors.
Let's hear it
Well,
again.
he was amazing, and he is amazing. And let me tell you this, that his criticism of NATO was right. What he was saying is that the US is spending so much more on its defense, and therefore spending on the collective defense of NATO territory than the Europeans. And the great thing is, and I think this...
Yeah, friends. Yep. He says he was right. He was right. Of course he was right. Been telling you he was right. Of course, I'm not the only one who's still been telling you that he was right, but I've been telling you too that he was right. Because he was right. Like, it can't be acceptable that America contributes so much to your defense and you are not contributing nearly even close to being enough. Come on, guys. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here, man. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. See you on the next one. Sure.